Lunch Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
What's happening in America is that's what's happening is like that's getting asked less and less because there are specialists, but you don't want to be a specialist anymore. You need to be really, really good at absolutely everything. There can't be any weaknesses in your game if you want to compete at the highest level. And you need to be able to fish the bank with no technology and read the laydown and the snag and the way the grass is and the cast angles. And you need to be able to use forward face and sonar and make a perfect cast on a suspended fish and know how it reacts off your graph. Like you need to be able to do all of those.
A lot
You're
of great
hit.
stuff.
I'll
Man.
go ahead and say
Yeah.
you're a hit. That's. I'm sure that's what you were about to say, Jeff.
Yeah.
This has to be one of the best KBN broadcasts yet. I will say, having you on is fantastic. You and G-Man are probably the two most informative pros that we've had on, and I think a lot of it has to do with your attitude and how you look at things, and constantly adjusting and fighting to get to where you want to be. And I think that's why you're both successful in this.
That's awesome, mate. I appreciate it. It's I think that is what it is. It's like everything is how you look at it. If it's doom and gloom, guess what it's going to be? It's going to be doom and gloom. If it's like, well, you're going to look at the positive side of everything. I just see everything, the negativity talking about in bass fishing right now, and I'm like, I don't see it. I've wished my whole life for this. Like fishing my whole life, everyone just thought I was a loser. Fishing sucks. Why would you do that? It's not cool. And now is every kid wants to be a pro, and everyone's got rat boats, and the buzz is huge, and there's people fishing, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and kids think it's cool and they love it, and there's high school fishing and college fishing. Like that's everything I'd ever wanted the sport to be. I wanted people to see it and more people to get into it, and now we've got it and people are complaining about it. I'm like, no, this is a good thing. But
You're
it's
never going to
come...
make everybody happy,
No.
Like there's always going to be people that don't want whatever it is, whether it's adaptation or growth or whatever. There's always going to be kind of that negative outlook on it.
Well, yeah, and it's a big thing is what happens to everyone on the elites, and it'll happen to kayak guys when you're trying to get into it, is it's like you getting blindsided. It sucks by things. So like for me, and this is the mistake, you see these guys coming out doing podcasts and talking about being an elite series angler. This happened to me exact. I made the elites. I thought my life was set. I thought this is it. Like if I make the elites, like I got the golden ticket, my life would just be like unbelievable from here on out. And within a few months, I was broke, and like I couldn't pay the next entry fee, didn't know where I was going to drive. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And I'm freaking out. And I had to like somehow navigate through all of that and come out the other side of it. And that's what's happening to everyone. You've got this preconceived thing in your head that like, it's what people think they're going to get rich and then they don't have to do anything ever again. It's like when you actually dive into it, even people that are super rich, they're still working their butts off all the time. It doesn't end. There's not this thing, well, if I get here, everything's going to be great. No, you just leveled up. Now it's going to get harder, and you're going to have to like dig even deeper to keep that and keep it growing. And so the more people get their head around that, the better. That there's not just this pinnacle where you get to and then life's good. It's just always you're just leveling up, you're getting better. You'll work smarter, not harder. But at the start, you're going to have to work as hard as you can ever imagine just to like get a foot in the door, to get a look in.
And I think it was Jason Lambert that told me this.
And that's what's happening to everyone. You've got this preconceived thing in your head that like, it's what people think they're going to get rich and then they don't have to do anything ever again. It's like when you actually dive into it, even people that are super rich, they're still working their butts off all the time. It doesn't end. There's not this thing, well, if I get here, everything's going to be great. No, you just leveled up. Now it's going to get harder, and you're going to have to like dig even deeper to keep that and keep it growing. And so the more people get their head around that, the better. That there's not just this pinnacle where you get to and then life's good. It's just always you're just leveling up, you're getting better. You'll work smarter, not harder. But at the start, you're gonna have to work as hard as you can ever imagine just to like get a foot in the door, to get a look in.
And I think it was Jason Lambert that told me this. He's like, you look at professional fishermen and you think they live this rock star lifestyle and they're living the dream and getting to do whatever. He's like, these guys have 2 mortgages on their house. They don't know if they're even ever going to be able to fish at the pro level again, financially speaking. He's like, just because, you got a wrap truck and a wrap boat one year does not guarantee what's coming next.
Yeah. But it is good at the same time. Like if you do it right and you stay in long enough and you do the right things with your sponsors and you become valuable and you do all of these things, it is incredible. Look at, like G-Man said this year, he's like, he's older and he's like, I'm getting paid more than I've ever been paid in my life. It's like, it's incredible because he's putting in the work, he's adapting, he's adjusting, he's talking to his sponsors. What do we got to do now? He's not just relaxed like, okay, I made it and now he's there. No, he's always working. And that's the thing. Just keep working.
And he's built a brand around himself. He's like you said, I mean, G-Man's a little older, not throwing shade on him, but he's adapted to kind of the changing, I guess, platforms of fishing. Like his TikToks are hilarious and blow up, but he's constantly, looking for what's the next move, how do I market myself better? And I think that's, probably one of the biggest stories is how do you remain successful? That's how. Build your brand, make yourself invaluable to these companies that work with you.
Somebody up in the comments said Carl's the Australian PMA. That's what they said.
I saw that.
I definitely get, we both, I got my brand with Fear My Heart, and between that and G-Man and keeping that, my crew right now with Gussie and Brandon, Swindle, and the people who keep around, they're all positive, go getting after it people. And the more you hang around that, the more you become that. And that's a big deal too. Like you got to get around those people that are pushing you, that want the best for you, that are, we're constantly talking to each other. Like, what about this? What about this? We should dive into this, and just trying to constantly get better. I think I've made the mistake of looking at Elite Series pros like it's this untouchable thing and they've got all these things going. It's just like, we're regular people doing the same things that everyone else was, but we just, people that get to a spot choose to go after it with everything they got, and they don't take no for an answer, and they just keep on going and keep on going.
Basically, what are your plans as far as how many events you're going to fish?
Yep.
What are your goals for each event, etc.?
I want to make the the Hobie Championship. That's kind of like the ultimate goal. But for this one, I don't have any huge expectations at all. I really just want to experience it. I don't want to put any pressure like I'm going to compete. I know how good all these people are, like anglers and Christine and all of them. They're hammers, and I'm going into a whole different new world. And just because you can catch them in a boat, it's different again out of the kayak, and it's going to take a lot for me to adjust, because one bad decision and now I'm on a lake that's not firing in a spot, and you just can't pick up and run. So they're all the lessons I'm kind of excited to learn. But my goal is to be competitive and possibly make the championship. I'd love to make the Hobie Worlds. I want to have a real go. It's not going to just be a one-off thing. The toughest part is the Elite Series schedule lays over a lot of stuff, and sometimes I'm in Texas and then the Hobie event's in New York, and I'm just not able to make that drive. So whichever ones line up, I'm going to try and do, and I'll try and jump in possibly a couple Bassmaster ones as well if they fit, and see what happens. But it's not going to be just a one-off thing.
Luke Arian says, he made a comment, you'd be the first pro angler to fish the TOC. Ike's made a run at it, but he didn't quite make the TOC. So you'd be the first one to cross over and actually make it to the Tournament of Champions. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be that definitely would be. That's definitely the goal. Just like I said, being at the TOC last year, I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever. I really got fired up from it, and it gave me a lot of lot of motivation, a lot of inspiration to want to do it, because, you know, just at the Elite Series level, it is still the same. And I'm always fighting for it. Like, I'm friends with Brandon and Gussie and Swindle and Josh, a bunch of guys. And I have a good group of guys that you can really talk fishing to, and that you want the best for, and you'll help and you'll share techniques. But at the end of the day too, like, everyone's trying to feed their families doing this. It's like high stakes, you know. I've gone broke. I've gotten into debt because of this sport and tried to fight my way out of it. It's brutal. It's a savage sport. So, like, to take it back a step and be like, still have the competitiveness and still be able to, like, show how good you are in your chosen field, but not have it so, like, almost cutthroat to see. In Australia, I grew up 10 years competing there, and the motto that we ran by through the tournament was who shares wins.
Like, we're at a point to where you're not gonna go back to nothing. Like, it's not gonna happen. Any technology that you see come out on a bass boat will be implemented on a kayak.
The other thing is that Bassmaster, not to say they're any better than anybody else, but they do have a grassroots level in every state, you know, where you can try to qualify without doing all the opens that we're traveling and doing. There's different ways to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it now. There were 2 or 3 states that were doing it right from the beginning. I mean, the Texas schedule is just a hammer factory. Like, when y'all dropped that one, that's pretty much a national trail just right in Texas. It was like, oh, all right, well, they're taking that pretty serious, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people down there literally that probably will say, I don't need to travel. I'll just stay here this year.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
for
sure. Yeah, I don't think, you know, a lot of people get hung up on the motors and the electronics and the materials that our kayaks are made of and all that stuff. That stuff will change over time. I think it's, you know, like what Marty said with bass, if they can figure out, like Steve Fields and I have had this conversation a million times about what he would like to do, live streaming and all that stuff. And whoever can unlock that, and Bass has the keys to it, obviously, to do it. But whoever can unlock that and get that part figured out, I think that's where, you know, you'll start getting different tiers of events, like what we've talked about with the state club. Like, Bass is already doing it. Like, it's forming right now. Like, you're going to get different tiers of events, just like they did with the bass boat world. I mean, there's Bass Nation, Bass Boat Series. There's the Opens. Then there's the Elite Series. Like, I could see that forming if they get the live stream part of it going. I think that's the evolution of it.
And you know, every piece of technology that's ever existed really gets cheaper over time.
Yeah, if you ever get something like Elon's Starlink, if that thing ever really works the way he says it will, and you start getting full, like 4 or 5G service at these lakes out in the middle of nowhere, and you can actually afford to live stream these events, that's when the game literally changes. That's when it really takes a leap, because then you're able to reach audiences live, and you know, that's where the dollars come in. That's where everything changes.
I think the reason that I feel like the Bassmaster part is the key is because they already have all of that established. They have camera crews, they have satellite trucks, they have the ability to stream it now. But what we have to show as a product, do we have the audience that's going to watch it? So, you know, are they going to invest those resources into the kayak fishing side? And I would love, and I'm sure, you know, it'll be a down the road next year, the year after thing, but can we show them enough return and enough support to where they're going to take that chance? And, you know, maybe they just cover the championship or whatever, but just roll the dice on it and see what the reception is. Because I mean, I definitely think that is the next evolutionary step. I do hate the advancement in the technology part. Like, I liked it better when, honestly, I liked it better. Nobody had fish finders or anything. Like, we just put it in a random ramp and, you know, 18 dudes paddled off into the night, and hopefully somebody could find 3 fish. But now, you know, as things advance and you have sponsor involvement and things, a lot of it's business. A lot of that comes into play, and I think, like I said, I don't think we're going to go backwards. I think you're just going to see more and more things come into it. It was great 9-10 years ago when several of us locally here got into it. It was pure and clean then, and now it's this big. You better bring a checkbook with you when you jump into the big stuff.
It's so funny. The dudes with like pedals and everything are calling themselves the purist.
Yeah. I was paddling a 14.5-foot native sit-in side back in those days.
I don't know. Duke, what you run a shop, one of the best shops in the country, right? And obviously one of the best in Texas. Is there a danger point where you can go too far with not the technology on the boats, but the boats themselves? I mean, people already laugh at calling a lot of these things kayaks. They're like, these ain't kayaks, these are mini bass boats. Is there a point that we can get too far with the design of the kayaks, or is that something that can just keep pushing as well?
I think there's a lot more to be pulled out of these kayaks because speed and stability wise, I feel that we can go a little bit quicker and a little bit, but it needs to be safer. There's way too many times where people don't realize what they put in their boat and undercompensate for the weight, and then get in rough waters. They don't pay attention to how crazy the weather gets, and then they flip and they have no way to get out of that trouble. So that's where the danger comes in, is not knowing your equipment.
I think a lot of the new people coming into the sport that don't have like a posse that they run with or whatever, they kind of feel, like alienated or outsiders or something. They're not getting that opportunity to, have a funny story or watch me make a fool of myself or something like that. Like, I think we have to get that kind of personal stuff back into it.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. Yeah. It's I think COVID, the last event that I ever remember being that was the Hobie event at Lake Norman. After that, everything just completely changed.
Yep. Me and Rich and Tim, we gave it a good run at Norman.
Yep. Yeah. I remember we were at that racetrack.
We had a good old time out there.
I want to go back. I want to get one of those cars and see if it'll do, 10, 15 miles an hour with my fat butt in it.
You have an opportunity coming up.
I'm going to get in I'm going to race, man. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to drink some bourbon and get in one of those race cars. Yeah.
All right, I'm in.
Johnny Maddox on YouTube made a comment about the leaderboards. Turn the leaderboard off all day, and you have to show up to see it at the end of the day. And I tell you,
like it.
The leaderboard's great, but I think we've all gotten spoiled to knowing the results basically all day until the end of the day.
If I'm watching somebody else fish, I'll get a bite and miss it.
Yeah, I mean, 90% of it is mental, and feeling that pressure. I think, in my opinion, it's almost better to be in the position you were in going into day two, because what'd you have to lose? What do you have to lose? You can run down the guy in first and win the tournament, right? But not everybody's looking at you like, oh, he caught 113 inches yesterday. If you just whacked him like that on day one, I feel like you have this pressure going into day two that people expect you to do it again and set some, unbeatable world record, on your limit.
Yeah, I mean, and by all means, if the weather stayed the same, he probably would have.
Yeah. But that's
You
the
know what
thing,
I'm saying?
these 2-day tournaments, it feels like there's always some kind of variable. It's either people showing up in your spot or the weather. There's always something that you're not accounting for that's about to happen.
Like the area that I was fishing, I would never go there on a day like Sunday unless it was in a tournament. It was terrible conditions, dude. It was like rolling waves. Like, I lost my net at 1 o'clock. I have no idea where. I didn't even realize when I had lost it, but I had it hanging on the front, and then I was just getting banged around, flipping up and down and going, getting in the structure and shit and just not paying attention. But then I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, my net's gone. I'm like, oh.
This guy's related to Eric Thomason. I'm convinced.
I like it. I don't know if he handles adversity
he
might be a little calmer.
My road dog buddy has lost 1,400 nets in the last 5 years we've been traveling. He lost one this week, and I joke around with him all the time. I mean, he's lost 100 of those things.
Well, I lost the net, and then I lost something else. What else did I lose? Oh, I went to Tractor Supply Saturday night and
I
bought.
can't wait to hear this.
I love this guy.
I bought a big piece of like steel because I was gonna put it through the hole in the
You're gonna use a stakeout pole. You went to Tractor Supply, got your stakeout pole.
because I knew it was gonna be blowing, so I got this huge piece of steel in it, dude. On my second spot, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check this. I stick it through the hole in my kayak, and the wind blows me off it, so it goes under, and it's gone. So,
It didn't have any kind of T handle or anything to stop it, huh?
No, but I thought it would be. I thought it would just. I'm not smart, but I tried.
Amen.
You were smart enough. It looks like. I mean,
I was like flexing on it too. Like in my brain, I was like texting my wife. I'm like, this was like $3. These fucking assholes want me to buy like a pouch.
I don't need that shit. Bloop.
But
Never
yeah,
mind.
the truth is, like when I see people with all the gear and all the cool stuff, like, I mean, I would love to use it. I just don't know how to use it. I'm almost 40 years old, man. Like I feel lazy. Like it would take me so much time to figure out how to hook that stuff up and use it that I don't know if it would help me because I would get frustrated,
So I want to get into this because this has been a big topic of discussion the past month or so on the page. Were you running a motor on your kayak? No. Were you running a live scope on your kayak?
No.
So everybody shut up. It doesn't make a difference. This guy just went out there and wrecked him in the first tournament of the year.
Sisto.
You don't need it. That was the big thing is people are like, oh, that's unfair. It's a huge advantage, blah, blah, blah. You just went fishing. You went out there, caught the fish, won the damn thing with a Tractor Supply stakeout pole falling through your kayak.
Well,
And no net.
I think the thing's breaking up. Oh, it broke up. Was that me? I probably did it.
No, you're good.
Did we break up?
We're
Did you say we
good.
broke up?
We're
Jordan
rocking and
Marshall.
rolling.
Jordan Marshall and lunch money.
Are we
You guys
breaking
are the
up?
best. No.
Okay.
No.
Oh my gosh.
No.
All right.
I hope that my new motivation to compete in tournaments so I can get back on here.
Dude, anytime. We'd love to have you back for real.
I need to get you on road dogging.
What
You
is
get
that your
somebody
show?
on road dogging.
Yeah, I need to. I've taken a 2-month hiatus where I've basically disappeared from all things fishing after my disappointing TOC finish.
Is it really like that?
Nah, I guess I've just been lazy. I don't know. I've got
It's wintertime,
the road
man.
dog. Yeah, it's wintertime. I
Oh,
fished
okay.
49 tournaments last year, and I think I about went half crazy. So
You fished 49 tournaments last year?
yeah, I did. And
Dude,
I
you're
needed-
him.
I needed a break.
You're him.
Marshall
I didn't earn
is
the
nuts.
road dog a nickname for nothing, big dog. We out
No,
here
you're-
traveling.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That's inspiring. I told Brian Nelly today, I was like, dude, you're like inspiring because I had seen him holding those the checks, and I was like, dude, I was like, holy, that's tight. I was like, I didn't see you coming. I mean, he's inspiring. I mean, because it's cool. Like when you see somebody else doing something that you want to do. I mean, like, that's cool. And the girl, Christine Fisher,
yeah.
that was so cool. She like won an award, and she like, encouraged the younger girl that was there that won. I mean, like, I love that stuff, man. I'm like, I told my girls, I'm like, go hang out with her.
She's top of the chart. She gets a
Yeah.
ton of young females,
Yeah.
not only interested in fishing but confident that they can be successful at it.
And like her
Great role
enthusiasm
model.
too. So like I see the video, pop up. When you search fishing stuff all day, it pops up. I see in the video where she's like making this super long cast, and it catches like this giant, and then she catches it and she like breaks down and she's like, yes. She's like, like for me, I'm like, that's I love that. Like I love that. I want
That's why we all do it, man. If you don't
Yeah.
have emotion when you're fishing, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons, I feel like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's cool. The whole thing is awesome. And like looks like it's getting there's a lot of buzz, dude. There's a lot of buzz because the bass dudes, they're like, dude, when I saw the picture of that 13 pounder, I was like, oh my God.
So I
It
was
was like
on
14.
OHIV out there, like, on a trophy trophy fishing trip or whatever, and I was like, man, I skipped the Harris Chain tournament to come out here and fish this big bass lake with you guys, and this is what happens when you're kayak fishing. Like, y'all are out here clowning around, and they're down there snatching 13s out of pieces of plastic. So
It was like
who's right, who's
13-11.
wrong?
It was like 13-11.
That's
It
crazy.
was
Giant.
It was.
That's a certified donkey.
Mm-hmm.
It really was. It really was. And you know, good for him, man. When I saw that, I had commented. I was like, you already won, dog.
I mean, but when you do something like that, it doesn't matter what happens for the rest of the
Right.
tournament. Like check, like I'm good, man.
I feel like Shane wouldn't have left the second day if he caught a 13 in practice.
Stop. Damn. Poor
I'm just
Shane.
kidding. I'm just kidding. No. Who leaves though because they're not doing good? Who does
Well,
that?
yeah. Tell us. We've all done it, man. I flew out halfway through. I flew out halfway through day 2 of a tournament when I was doing good.
I just jinxed myself, didn't I? I'm probably gonna
might have.
leave. Dude,
We'll find out at the TOC at your
I
second.
just shot myself after the first day, and I'm like, peace out. This sucks.
I'm going to Busch Gardens with the kids.
You guys got Busch Gardens?
No, we were talking about at Charleston.
I had a kind of a cheap house payment that I was buying. Didn't really have any truck payments, so everything was kind of. I was like, what's the worst that could happen? How about I quit, start really cranking out videos, and just see where this goes. If it lasts a year, if I get to travel, make a few fishing trips, and then it crashes. So that was 4.5 years ago, and I'm still doing it. And
Still not doing HVAC. Still.
And that's the best part. Yeah, I still do what I want to do.
HVAC, and
okay.
Congrats on getting out of the attic,
Yeah.
and out from under the house. Good job.
Oh my goodness, I'm so tired of crawling under and spiders and cobwebs and stuff. I do miss fixing problems. I love solving problems. So YouTube's given me a new challenge mentally to kind of figure things out and solve things. But I'm pretty lazy fisherman, and that's where creeks are perfect for me. All my friends are like, meet us at this time. I'm like, it's still dark then. I don't want to do that. So
you should go fish on Ryan.
Yeah, no kidding. We're on the same schedule, pal. Meet me about 9:30.
Yeah, there you go.
Bring me a white monster and a Twinkie, and we'll get after it.
Sounds good. That's about what I do. So I've really gotten into kayaking. That took me like a couple of years. I kayaked a little bit, but I didn't know anything about kayaking, and I didn't know anybody. So there was after a couple of years, I started wanting to explore rivers, and then I went and bought a Sandolphin King Sport for $700. And I remember thinking this is a lot of money for a kayak. I'm going all out. I didn't even know of other brands because I never went to a real kayak store. I was just whatever's at Dunham's. I'm going to buy that. So
this is the nicest one Walmart's got. I'm fixing to show out.
One for the 12-footer.
Yeah. It had a nice seat. So yeah. So my first kayak trip, I flipped my kayak and lose a GoPro and stuff. But I was hooked. Once I did some river floats, that was my favorite thing to do now, going down little river floats. Yeah. But yeah, so now I'm doing it, still breaking even, trying to hit that next level where I really make money, but I get a lot of free stuff. So it's really cool. I got 5 kayaks now. So, and didn't pay for any of them, which is awesome. So that's really fun.
So what kind of camera equipment do you use? When you got started versus now, are you just GoPro mainly? Is that kind of your bread and butter?
Yeah. Really GoPros and my iPhone. It's about all I use. I have other stuff. Now I've bought this, bought that, and then I hardly use any of them. It's strap a GoPro on, bring my iPhone, and I'll fly a drone around every once in a while or I have a little bit better camera. But my iPhone does as good as anything, and it's there and it's accessible, and that's the main thing. Just videoing, having it out, having it videoing stuff.
Yeah, I've watched a fair amount of I just watched your last video, that 16-mile float on the.
Oh yeah.
You dropped that today, I think. But
yeah,
your setup is pretty simple in every video. It's kind of similar. Maybe that's what people like, is that consistency of that over the shoulder, front view, back and forth, and they know what they're going to get there. But yeah. Very simple. And it reminds me of, I don't know if either one of y'all watched the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, he's got 6 million subs, huge YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And all he does is he's got a GoPro on a selfie stick. And that's pretty much it. He does nothing fancy. So
killing it.
One rod, one rod, one reel. He don't post much anymore. He was one of the biggest YouTubers, and all he did was iPhone and a GoPro. He never used anything else. Yeah. And he was one of the biggest People like simple. That's what I really like, and that's what I've learned about my channel. I'm catching panfish and whatever, and people love it. People love simple fishing stuff and just filming it simple. You don't have to have a high production, system or something like that. So, yeah,
I think because people feel like they can duplicate it. They see
Mhm.
that and they're like, oh, I could do that. So they keep coming back.
Back to Facebook, Jason Bettis. What size net head does John use in most of his local rivers?
I usually 1/16 ounce is like my go-to weight, and I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see that. It's like an owner offset blockhead. Is one of my hooks that I like. It's like I think a 1/0 size hook, and I try to just do everything weedless. I fish hellgrammites a lot and a yum dinger, but like just 3-inch hellgrammites and hook them up weedless.
Oh wow!
Yeah, those things are wild.
Those are
a lot.
And that's what's funny. Like, this is the craziest color. Yum made this color basically because I was throwing this color yum dinger and catching like all my best bass on it. And then I've used this and caught like 18s and 19-inch smallmouth in creeks. So I like doing stuff sometimes just to like mess with people. And I'm like, I'm going to use this color. I'm going to catch just as many fish as that guy, even though he thinks they're biting because he put this color on. So, but yeah, a hellgrammite works. That style lure, like way you can get it to drift in the current, is awesome when they're feeding in that current, because you can just bounce it right into their mouth the way they like to eat.
Fantastic. Let's go back to Facebook. Eric Romines. One rod, one bait. If you had that choice, what are you taking for a tournament? Pink hellgrammite? Yep.
No, yum dinger. So a 6. I just got a new one. I got it at the fishing expo. I got a 13 Black Envy rod for $100. I was like, yeah, I'll take that. And it's a 6'9" medium, and I usually use a 4-inch yum dinger.
That color too?
Yeah, that color. That's it.
What?
I've caught 2 over 5 pound spotted bass in the river, and I've caught my 7.5 pound largemouth out of chick on it, and like a couple 6-pounders.
That's
what's the name of that? What's the name of that? What's the name of that color?
Bubblegum yellow swirl.
Oh.
So I started. Funny story is, like, the first time I used it, I was like, this will never work. And I'm fishing an area where and this is what I liked. I like proving things to myself, and you hear all these things people tell you, and I don't listen to anything people say. Like, I like watching Tactical Bassing or whatever, but I don't listen to anything they say, because I don't think it applies to me.
Don't know shit.
Yeah, they know what they are doing, but it doesn't mean it's going to work the way I fish and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so I was fishing and I was catching these fish. They're these smallies out of a river, and I had one of these color, and I'm like, I'm just going to put that on there because I already caught like 3, and I kind of knew there was a few more there. I throw in there, boom, right away it gets hammered. And I was like, wow, the other color that was natural didn't make any different than this color. And then I've got that's like my favorite color. That's my go-to confidence bait for real. Like, I've caught so many fish on that.
Match the hatch? No, I'll take neon orange and pink, baby.
And everybody knows
nowhere in nature.
All the guys that fish with me know I use that, and they're like, "Did you use the yum dinger today?"
Does it matter? Like clear water, muddy water, doesn't matter. You're throwing the dreamsicle in there.
Yeah, I'll throw it in. Coy River here, crystal clear water. I'm throwing it over there. Boom. That's where I caught my 5 pound, 5 ounce spotted bass.
I heard there's some giant mega spots up in that area.
Yeah, that's the spot. I've floated over so many.
Summertime. I've been told stories about it. I heard it's absolutely insane.
There's a bunch of guys from North. There's a bunch of people that float it, but it still doesn't get fished that much comparatively. Mm-hmm. But like I like doing it, but I still haven't. I feel like I've really caught a ton of big ones. There's some mean mouth in there too. It's kind of cool. But it's kind of spread out. A lot of the rivers around here, like, there's a deep hole. You'll catch 1 or 2, and then you move on to another hole. They're not just like loaded up like some of the rivers. I don't know.
Do you have like a schedule? Like, what do you shoot for as far as like weekly posts?
I shoot for 3 a week. Usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's my goal. I make like 85% of my money through YouTube ads. So if I don't put videos out, I'm not getting paid. So I have to keep making videos, really, to kind of keep the revenue up. I can see a big difference when I only make, put a couple out. And then sometimes there's just the way YouTube is, it can just go up or down as far as views. But consistent videos is the most important thing.
Do you study all the algorithm stuff and all that? Are you nerding out on that stuff?
No,
Nope.
When I started my channel and when I made my first videos, I was like, I said this and this is still the way I believe. Like, I'm going to make the video I want to make, and I don't care what other people want to see. Like, if it works, it works. And I knew that was going to work because everybody is like-minded with somebody else. So everybody has their own people they like. And I didn't know it was going to grow to what it's going now. Like, I was just hoping to get a few thousand subscribers, maybe make a couple $100 extra for, a fishing trip. And then once it kind of started growing, it just consumed me. I'm like, all right, I got to just keep this going. So, and I'm not trying to, like, that video, my best video, like, I have yet to go back to that spot, and it's 10 minutes from me. But because I haven't had the desire to go back there and fish that again. I just fish the way I want to fish and do what I want to do. But because that's what I'm excited about. That's what I'm not trying to fake anything I'm not good at, hype it. I'm not trying to hype something up. I'm just going to do what I enjoy doing. And that comes through in videos so well. If I'm excited about something, if I had a fun day, the comments and people are like, man, you had a fun day. And I don't even realize, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I really did. So I'm just doing what I want to do. I try to look at, like, sometimes look at analytics or look at something, but for the most part, I don't know how much it matters really. The YouTube thumbnail is important. That's one of the biggest things I've learned, and I can see that through my views. Having a thumbnail that is that catches my viewers' attention. Other than that, I just try to do multi-species stuff a lot and do the things I'm interested in. And then I got into kayak bass tournaments, and at first, a lot of people didn't like those. Yeah. But I try to tell the story of what's going on that day, and I make an effort to, like, include everything, what's going on, and not just have dead spots. And it can be tough when you're getting really aggravated or you fish 3 hours without a bite, but you got to stay engaged, telling the story of what's happening. And a lot of people are starting to enjoy the tournament videos.
Why do you think people didn't like those? Do you think it's because it was in a tournament, or, I mean, what do you think turned your audience off? Because you were trying to catch largemouth that day, or what do you think it was?
I think it's most of my best videos are always small streams, usually wading. I think part of it might be the view, like the camera angle. But also everybody can wade or stop at a small stream and fish it. And there's a lot of kayakers out there, but a lot of people that don't kayak, I don't know if they really enjoy watching the kayak stuff as much. But I know there's so many people that have said, like, I got into kayaking because you make it look so fun, and I'm so glad I did. And that's where I'm like, kayaking is a blast. If you've never done it, you have to get into it if you enjoy fishing and just enjoy getting off the bank, getting away from everybody else.
Yeah. And there are, I don't know the ratio, but it's 10-1 or more recreational fishermen to tournament fishermen to begin with.
But I also liked about kayaking, I like going up little creek channels out of the way, just fishing shallow. There's always fish shallow, especially, like, I live close to Chick and some of these lakes, but I hardly go out there for bass. But when I do, it's like you can find them there's always in a creek channel. They're always up somewhere shallow. You can go, find a couple of bass. So, but I do like the competitive. I got a pedal drive Old Town 120 now. That's what I've been fishing out of. I'm trying to work on getting a motorized kayak to kind of just help me get to more places and make it a little easier. But I do I'm fishing in a
strap you one on there. Strap you a motor on that Old Town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting one from Newport.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
have Lily send you one of them EPDLs. You got the clout. Yeah. Tell them to send you one of them.
I saw one in person over the weekend. They look nice.
Yeah.
I didn't get to put it on the water. Someone had already paid for it, but
no test drives for Ryan. Damn.
Nope.
Yeah. I thought it was a good time to have you on as well because of what you just talked about with keeping things simple, finding fish simple, things like that. Because we are in an age of unsimple fishing. I mean, there's been a bunch of stories this week with 3 graphs on a kayak, scopes, dual motors, little DP going on the kayak. I mean, it's insane what's going on out there. But at the end of the day, simple still works, doesn't it, John?
Yeah. And I don't have I'm not saying I'm going to win tournaments, but when I go to one, I'm just trying to be in that top 10%. And I'm fishing in the Bassmaster National, got 7th down in Gunnersville. First day I went out on a paddle kayak because I was just fishing over this grass, ended up finding fish, caught everything on a spinnerbait. Threw a spinnerbait 2 days in the Tennessee Bass Nation, and it was about as simple as it gets. I'm like, this is fun, but yeah, I didn't have any, I'm trying to learn as it goes, and I want to be able to learn more about every other lure out there. But the ones that you're confident in are going to catch fish usually, so just go out there and catch them. And it always cracks me up. I like kind of making fun of tournament anglers sometimes, but
us too.
It's just fun. And I joke with the other guys too. I'm like, as hard as everybody works, there's always that bottom half that can't catch a limit. And I mean, I've been there too, but it's just funny how hard, so much effort we put into it. And then it's like, yeah, I couldn't find 3 keepers or 2 keepers. So maybe that's why I'm afraid to try too hard. I'll make fun of myself.
It'll get you. Sometimes you overthink it. You go in, you have a plan, and your plan is not the same plan as the fish's.
Yeah, that's 100%.
We're going to get to some more of these questions, but here's a quick one. This kind of goes with the tournaments. Do you use any electronics?
No, I don't have anything. I would maybe get a graph or get something on there, but I don't know anything about electronics. I never used them, and I just don't want to buy anything. So, and I'm like too stubborn to want to try. I mean, maybe one day I'll try something. But I'm just like, I don't want to.
If anybody's trying to get their electronics on YouTube, send John a graph.
Yeah. Send John a graph. Come on.
People always ask me, what was the water temperature? I'm like, I have no idea. I've never checked water temperature in my life.
I don't know.
You need to do the Drew Gregory. He pulls a meat thermometer out of his pocket and sticks it in the water real quick. And that's
hilarious.
Yeah, I fished with him a few times. And that's something to learn, like how people fish differently, how so many different ways they are to fish and catch fish. And like watching him fish and stuff. And I was like, wow, that's, there's so much. I'm like barely covering water, and he's covering 70 miles fishing as he's going.
101, son. He does not slow down at all anywhere. It's crazy.
Yeah, Drew is 100 miles an hour all the time.
You're like, maybe I'm in the wrong spot.
I questioned my spot when I left the ramp, honestly, because you know how it is in the morning. You're all grouped up at the ramp, and then everybody races to their spot. Well, I was the only one that went there. Literally, everybody went the opposite direction. And I was like, well, I'm either an idiot or a genius. And so it ended up working out.
Turns out you're a genius.
That's right. That's fishing, man. That's fishing. Yeah. We've talked about it 100 times on here, but when the winds happen, it's little things like, you make that right call when you're second guessing yourself, you stick with it. You don't lose that fish. You forget your net, but don't lose the big one.
That's right. That's right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's
what
amazing,
else? Man. What else do you fish in the Texas region? You said you fish the West Texas Club, obviously. Are you fishing any of the other Texas Bass Nation events?
Well, we have another concurrent event with West Texas for Ivy. I believe that one's in September. I'll probably try and make the Toledo event and the Fork event for Bass Nation. Those are hard to pass up.
I was gonna say, I'd say both of those will be pretty solid. How's Ivy gonna fish in September out there?
If I had to guess, probably pretty tough. I
didn't know how Ivy was in September. I know, I expect that we talked about the Chickamauga event in September for the Hobie schedule. September's generally a tough month to fish unless you're far up in the Northeast. So I didn't know if Ivy had some special magic that happens in September or if it was going to be another grinder.
Man, not that I'm aware of. It'll probably be a grinder.
I already put it out there. Well, I will have to say, Ty, that it is very similar in February from my experience.
I had to see what Ty had to say. He usually has a good comment or two. But he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Did you, in fact, take Billy Bowden's money at Lake Leon last year?
Did I?
I think so. I don't. Billy, are you referring to our guest or Ty himself? We'll find out. We'll find out in a few minutes, folks. Stay tuned. Let Billy's concocting his answer right now.
Does Lake Leon even exist in Texas?
It does.
Okay.
It does. Yeah.
Okay.
It's part of our trail series. I might have.
Did you actually rob him, or were you fishing the tournament?
I don't think I robbed him, but I'm hoping it's a tournament.
Billy just felt a mustache on the back of his neck, and he's attributed that to you, I think. It wasn't him, Billy. It was a different West Texas cowboy you had on you.
That was David Logan.
Oh my gosh!
But
he's almost certain on the water. We're getting to the bottom. This could be like a Dateline episode, I feel like.
Oh Lord! We got a question from YouTube. Ethan Robertson. What do you know about Hordes Creek?
Hordes Creek.
Hordes. Damn it! I messed up on that.
Jeff, you ain't got that Yankee out of you yet.
I know, man.
Hordes Creek is. I've only fished it a handful of times, but it's super low right now. It's basically just a creek channel, but when it fills up, there's lots of flooded timber. There's some grass to be found in it in the right spots, but it can fish. It's usually pretty good fishing. I haven't heard of any giants coming out of it, but it's a good little lake.
Okay.
Is Brownwood known for giants? I mean, did you expect to see monsters coming out of it going into this tournament, or was this just kind of the perfect storm?
No, I expected some big fish to be caught, and lots of them. We've kind of known about the lake for a few years now. Just we finally added it to our trail series last year, but there's a couple of bass clubs that fish it, and they always post results, and that's kind of why we added it, because it's a good lake. We've known about it. Yeah.
I remember when the schedule came out, we were all blown away by the Texas schedule, number one.
But now I'm thinking like, okay, now I'm a normal tournament guy where I'm focusing more on what didn't happen instead of what did. And so I kind of thought about that all week. And, the Tennessee bass was sitting there on Dale Hollow, and I knew what the bite's going to be. I know what the opportunities are. And I just wanted to go out there and swing on them for a little bit more money. And, there's a double dip opportunity because, that's the fun. I didn't get to fish the 2-day paddle and fin. Would have loved to have been able to do that, but I had some plans on Sunday. So it was good to kind of mix a little bit. But 10 cat event, 3-fish tournament, Knoxville Club. Ended up getting second in that to Eric Thomason because he had 3 bigs. And all of my fish were like the same size. They were all 18.5 to 19-inch smallmouth that I had. So it was just awesome, man. It was a great day on the water, and it kind of the build up for it was perfect for me as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you said something there. Is there a better way to limit out than all solid smallmouth like that?
No, I mean, if I could have culled an 18 for a 21 would have been cool, but I wasn't, I didn't know because, obviously the leaderboard goes off. I had service to check it, but, I'd look at Eric's fish, when I didn't have my, when I was submitting and checking on things, and, he had a 20, a 19 3/4, and a 19 1/4, and then a 15 and a 14. And so the tournament director in me is thinking man, my dude is holding back some good ones. He's just waiting. He's playing with me. All of that. And then I'm also looking at Jay Wallen and Jim Ware that hadn't submitted fish because they're probably fishing in an area that didn't have good enough service. So I know that 90 inches probably isn't going to cut it. In my mind, I just watched Paul win with 92 and change. Any time on that lake, you're going to cull a 17 for a 20. If you get that one right bite. And so, I just kept fishing hard. Actually had my last cull with 3 minutes left, had it at 1:58 Central Time. It was just a 1/2-inch cull, but at the time that's better than no cull. So like you're kind of jacked up. It's like a last second shot, and it went in. I didn't know that I didn't need my last 3 culls, and that it was enough. But to be able to kind of keep that mindset and fish, staying motivated through that whole time, is just, and then to have that last bite was pretty awesome. And I'm a finesse angler. I'd love to have a spinning rod in my hand the whole time. And I really, except for a couple different presentations to try to let them see something different, I drug a finesse jig on a spinning rod the whole time and fish exactly the way I like to do it. Even though the wind was ripping 15 to 20 mile an hour straight down this cut, that helped the bite. And I was able to use the PA 12-360 to kind of position properly to keep that little 1/4 ounce jig on the bottom in 20 foot of water. So it was just a lot of fun, man. Had a great time. I fished really clean. And y'all talk about people fishing by each other. There was like 6 kayak anglers in this cut or in this creek, and like 20 to 40 bass boats in and out. And it was pretty busy. I don't think a single person saw me catch any fish that I caught. And these are like secondary points. They're very visible areas, but it just was kind of cool because I felt like I was like doing my thing and no one knew about it that was there watching it,
All right. So moving on. What's next on the topic list?
Sorry, man. Softball that one to me. All right. Anyway,
I know, it was on purpose. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, Christine, I had to ask you about this. You're coming on. We've got the win in the books. I know it's awesome to have another BOS trophy, but the big news. I know, but look, the news of the last few weeks, and we haven't had you on in a little while, is you are making the leap over to do some opens. We have to ask you about that while you're on here. When is the first one, and what are you thinking leading up?
Well, this is probably really stupid on my part, but I'm fishing on the pro side, like actually as a pro side on the boat. I'm fishing this year on Hartwell, which is not my favorite lake, in October. So that will be my first official open on the pro side. I figured that'll give me the summer to kind of really, get comfortable in the boat, get comfortable in the trolling motor, which is the biggest thing that's kind of been a challenge for me lately. And yeah. But I'm fishing a couple more as a co-angler. I've had a lot of fun with that. Obviously being a co is not a long-term thing for me, but it's been fun just for camaraderie and just for meeting people and just kind of just seeing how that side of the world worked. I had never fished a bass boat tournament before. So jumping in a few opens was huge. And I just feel like, it's time for me to kind of do that. And my expectations are very low for the performance in the opens. That is the gauntlet right now of bass fishing. But I'm just hoping that, a lot of women that I mentor, a lot of women that I pull and talk to that fish in high school and fish in college, when I say, why aren't y'all fishing the opens? They're just like, well, it's way too intimidating. We're going to get our butts kicked. All the guys say, look at the women. They're all the way down at the bottom. And I was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you finish dead last. So I'm hoping that even if I finish dead last every single tournament, by not quitting and just going out and having a really good attitude, I just hope that, I can help get some more gals into fishing the opens and fishing competitively on that level, much the same that I've kind of hopefully been able to help do in the kayak world.
That's what I've been trying to do this season, is finish dead last in the tournaments, just to let people know it's okay. You're not going to die. Like, it's fine. Who cares? Who cares if you don't catch a fish? It's fine.
Yeah, and you're doing really well. Your attitude's been great, really inspiring.
Right? Yeah, we've had a great time with it. I can't speak for the entire world of kayak fishing, but I know a lot of us support your move to the opens. I can't. I hope you kill it and love it, and it was good to meet you.
Well, I'm not leaving. I love kayak fishing. My goodness.
She got to come over here and get gas money, bro.
Yeah,
I know.
You're leaving kayak fishing. I was like, I'm not leaving kayak fishing. I love kayak fishing way too much. I do both.
Have you set up any kind of obstacle course navigating the trailer around is my biggest concern. I'm not concerned with you catching fish. I think you're going to do great at that. But I don't want to see you peel off the side of a new Skeeter there, getting back in the parking lot.
Listen, backing a boat trailer is 1,000 times easier than the kayak trailer.
Fact.
So I feel
That's
like,
100%.
thank goodness. I'm more concerned about me running up on a sandbar or doing something stupid in the boat. So I'm trying to be real careful with that.
Even the most experienced pros do that constantly, so I wouldn't worry too much about that.
I know. Well, honestly, the Okeechobee Open I fished earlier this year when there was like 60 people in the lock, and I was with one of my old school boaters, Santee Cooper guy. I was like, Ronnie, this is what freaks me out, because they're literally like boat to boat, and I was like, I'm gonna be the one that is like bumping, like doing something stupid and getting the troll motor over the place.
I wonder if y'all feel there's a sacrifice in regards to tournament results in order to provide better quality videos. Have you ever felt that?
Every single tournament. Yes, it's a nightmare. Because GoPros have so many dang issues. You don't know how many times I've spent a half hour. If something happens, I'm sitting there trying to get things going. Absolutely, yes. But
even more than that, how many times does a fish bite when you're messing with a damn camera? Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, you reach back, you're like, oh shit, the camera went off, and you're messing with that, and you'll get your biggest bite of the day every time.
Yep.
There you go.
Never fails.
Jay, you mess with much tournaments, man? I know you fish
I do a
some.
little bit of tournament fishing, but nothing major. But I will say that it just takes your attention. Anything that you're doing otherwise, it takes a lot of energy to film, especially if you're trying to make good content. If you're just trying to document your day, it's not a big deal. But if you're trying to make engaging content, yeah, you got to think about the storytelling. You got to think about your segues and how you're going to present things. So you're thinking about all this while you're fishing.
Yeah.
So I would say there's definitely a sacrifice there.
I think it helps people like Dusty, though.
Yeah.
When they film,
Dude.
It's like an outlet for some.
He needs that.
I do. So I do a lot, and I try to do a lot of like Instagram updates and stuff throughout the day. Because people that don't even fish, that don't give a shit about tournament fishing, they lock into that stuff and they just want to know. They're like, what happened? What happened? Like, obviously it was a disaster. What happened? Like, you have to engage with people. And again, Omar, like we said with your channel, man, just be real. Like, just if it's going bad, it's going bad. But if it's going good, then people want to know if it turned out well. But just be yourself.
Yep. That kind of leads into this next question from Top Shelf on YouTube. We'll start with Christine. Parting words to encourage folks to get started in YouTube, stay consistent with YouTube, or just be successful over there. Any parting words?
I think the best advice, and you guys have all kind of said this, is truly just be yourself. You don't have to be the best angler. You don't have to be the best editor. If you go out there and you've got a personality, you've got something different, you got to remember, even in our small niche of fishing, there's a lot of fishing channels, especially for the dudes. There's a lot of dudes out there doing fishing channels. So I think it's really important to find something that really use your personality. If you've got a big personality, let that shine through. People love that. At the end of the day, I think people get so caught up with not connecting with people. We're so tied into screen things that when we do feel like we get to connect with someone through the screen, it's good. That, and do the shorts. I think that's really important. Like I said, full transparency. I think I only had like 60,000 subs before doing shorts, but it did help boost it. And as long as your long form videos, the views are very consistent and they stay up there where they should be, I really think that helps. Like, look at Dave Mercer. His shorts get millions and millions and millions of views. His long forms don't get that many, but he's making really good cash on shorts. So I would encourage people to do a little bit of both.
There we go. Jay, what about from you, my friend?
Advice?
I'd say just along the same lines as Christine said, like just do it, because there are a lot of channels, and the biggest hang up I hear that people don't even get past the starting line is that, there's too much. There's already too much. There's too much competition. Why am I going to do me? Yeah, everyone has a unique perspective. Everyone has something to bring to the table. So that's number one. So just get started, but also stay consistent. Just consistently post, even if you can only post once a month, just keep doing it, because you're going to see those gains come in. And the more reps you put in, the more comfortable you get on camera, the more comfortable you get talking to people, interacting with the camera, and coming up with content too. So content, people get stuck, and I get asked all the time, oh, what? Do you ever run out of ideas? It's like I don't generally run out of ideas because I'm always watching, I'm always consuming. So even like my wife will like watch a makeup video and be like, "Babe, you should do this." Like, but about kayak fishing. My last video actually that I just uploaded last week was an idea that she gave me.
Conversation point, but it is. So I mean, it's gonna be there for a little while, but we'll see. See what happens.
Well, if you guys want to get in on the podcast market, I know a couple guys. They run a great kayak fishing podcast. Love to bring Newport in.
Finger on the pulse of the sport.
There you go.
We got our finger somewhere. I'll say that.
Yeah. Check it. Like it. Well,
we appreciate you, sir. We appreciate all you do for the sport. And you've called in a couple times during these call-in shows. We didn't even plan it or anything like that, and it's been great information, great feedback.
Love to hear from you. One of the greatest minds in the kayak fishing game, right here.
Dude, I'm just blessed to be in the in the game. You know, I love it. So,
Keep doing
I wish
it,
I
man.
could fish more though, but maybe one day.
You'll get there. Keep grinding.
Yeah. Well, come down to Asheville and visit me next week, man. Like I said, I'll be there from Monday through Thursday. So.
All right. I'll touch base with you next week for sure.
For sure.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you, sir.
Later.
All right, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
Ramel Labrador, everybody. That was awesome. I appreciate when he calls in.
He is a wealth of information. Honestly, like when it comes to rigging and knowledge about multiple brands of kayaks, he's rigged everything. Like he knows the ins and outs, the pros and cons of everything. So shout out to Ramel. Always glad to have him on.
Hey, I just saw this. What's going on here? What's this?
James Snyder sent it to me. I told him to get a tattoo of Kayak Bass Nation, and he just sent me that on his calf. So I told him to
photoshopped, but
I told him to lick his finger and rub it. I want to see if it's real.
One show giving Cali some love, and he gets a tattoo.
Hey, that's all we needed. Let's get Bassmasters back to Cali. Let's get a Hobie back to Cali. Come on, start the rally cry.
What part that makes me believe it is he actually wore matching socks with it.
I mean, if you zoom in on it, it is definitely on his skin. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's some sort of drawing or a carnival prize or what. But it's definitely on his skin. I'll give credit there.
Like a lick 'em, stick 'em situation there.
That's my motto. Okay. I tried to stop it. This Gatorade Zero, man, it's got me feeling some type of way.
Yeah, I feel you. Oh my God.
Oof.
Well, that was. I mean, we're up against the hour. I can't believe that the call-in show went by that fast. We didn't have a lot of callers tonight, but they were all quality. All quality.
Very high quality.
Very high quality. He can't draw. James, please. Is it real? Real or fake? No.
Abel, check that thing. I need a welfare check on the KBN tattoo.
Can you call in and like rub that thing?
FaceTime your leg? What?
Yeah.
Could you call in and rub that? I feel like Bob's gonna call back if we say that too many more times.
Call in and rub something. We don't want to see that, Bob. Stay away from here. Sure.
Holy cow.
My word. All right. So we're gonna do our Seaguar giveaway tonight, y'all. And because I messed it up last week.
Yes.
The hashtag tonight is Octohole.
Octohole.
For those that don't know what that is, I'm sorry you didn't watch last week, but that is a new cornhole game.
You need to know. It's a lot of fun, a lot of group involvement.
Yeah, 8.
Yeah, 8 as a matter of fact. Root word, octo.
Yeah, man.
Oh my gosh.
Never thought I'd see Diggs tagged them at Octohole. I don't know if there's a channel named Octohole, but there probably is. You probably didn't get banned for saying that.
I don't know if we need to pull them in on this. We've had a great night so far.
Yeah. We've got Octa with an A, Octohole. I don't know if that's going to get it or not.
Y'all just freehand this, man. Whatever you got in your heart, get it out.
Yeah. If you get a chance and you get invited to play, I
do it.
Highly recommend.
Do it. Jump into the Octohole for sure.
That was a fun show, man. I know that.
You talking about like as far as what we're doing, or just
just what you're hearing from people, like why all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but why the steady growth over the last couple of years since you've jumped in? Because it's obvious what's happened here. I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah, I think it's just consistency across the board. You know, because, you know, it's kind of like, you know, although, I mean, I have a lot of help over there, it's kind of, you know, what we want to do, you know, and which y'all know the method to what I do is I talk to everybody and write down notes and just kind of do a general consensus, you know, like when we start picking lakes, you know, if I take 100 questions I get from people, just because 80 of them say Lake X, that doesn't mean what we're going to do, but I do, you know, put that into consideration heavily, what the people want, so to speak, to not sound cliche-ish, but that's really how I kind of operate with it, you know.
You got to listen to your customers. I think that's
yeah,
that's business 101.
Right. And so the rest, man, God's blessed us. I don't know. That's the only thing I can really pinpoint is that, you know, we're just doing it for the right reasons. We're just doing it to put on good events with integrity, you know, like all our other series try to do too. There's not much different that we're doing than anyone else, but, you know, it's just, I mean, that just goes to show, like, you know, that Bassmaster name does carry, you know, a lot, like, you know, people grow up wanting to fish one of those events, you know, and they just get to kind of live, you know, as close to that dream as they can by doing it in a kayak. So
I just wanted a sticker.
Got new stickers too. I'll have those with me. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I think, you know, when we sat down at Pickwick, you know, before kind of the revamping happened, you sat down and had dinner, and they really took into account and made points to have conversations with us on what, you know, what we could do better and you know, why they felt like things had dropped off at that point. I think that was big, you know, engaging directly with the customers. And, you know, the guys running it weren't kayak guys. They didn't know really what was happening. So I think, you know, there were some things getting overlooked. And we said this from the beginning, you have to have somebody from the kayak side running a kayak trail for them. Like, you can't, there's not a bass boat crossover for the stuff that we do.
Yeah, they tried, you know, with like all of our hands being in it a little bit with, you know, Dwayne, Patrick, and Tyler and the rest of the guys. But, and they knew, you know, it took, you know, someone that can do it all the time to make it work. And just like everything else, you know, they had to learn how to do this too, our way to an extent, plus their way. But communication chain is just a little different now. And I think that's the key to it is, you know, Hank and all of them, they're great.
And you're driving the bus, Steve.
Yeah.
That helps.
Can't do it alone. You know that, though.
Each one reach one, Steve. That's what we're doing out here.
Each one.
Sorry.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
boy.
Yeah. So the reason we had you on tonight, like, we were talking about bringing you on for a few weeks. We didn't know. I mean, we knew the attendance was going to be good, but we didn't know you were going to set a record. So we wanted to start off with talking about that. But really, before the kickoff, we wanted to give you a chance to kind of expound on some of the finalized rules. So you want to touch on some of the things that kind of got hammered out there for 24 before it gets started?
Yeah, we, you know, obviously we published these a while ago and, you know, we cut up and carry on about it, but people still don't read. So above all else, you got to remember, hey, it's your job to download.
Much Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.